Welcome back. Now that we are fully in the middle of summer, many of us have spent some time around the grill with some tasty meats and drinks. That's while socializing in the summer sun, or hopefully the shade. July is National Grilling Month, and the rise of grilling here in the U.S. has a history of how it developed and came about. Who better to ask? And is joining us this morning is historian Raffi Andonian, telling us more about this. Raffi, you know we ask you the hard-hitting questions, we ask you the fun ones. You have an answer for everything. This is incredible. So, I mean, a little bit history of grilling. Why is it so popular?
Even grilling has a history, right?
Right, yeah.
And it's really American because it starts with Christopher Columbus, who comes to the Caribbean and encounters the local indigenous groups there making meat on green wood, moist wood that's still kind of fresh, with indirect heat, and making that initial sort of barbecue, slow-cooked kind of barbecue. That spreads into the mainland by the Spanish. For example, De Soto is who brings it from the Caribbean to the mainland. Of course, the colonial powers mixing with the indigenous peoples. And here in New Mexico, eventually it plays out as what we to this day call the matanza, right? And so the barbecue takes different forms and shapes, but it really starts to become popular the way we think of it in terms of grilling in the backyard in the 1950s. That's when it really takes off. So it's a really modern thing, the way that we do it. Of course, making meat in the slow-cooked barbecue way still continues, and that's the old school way, but the newer way is popular in the 1950s. When you think about gathering around the grill in the summer, that's a more recent suburban kind of development.
Yeah, cookouts and camping, and of course, that's the fun of, like, there's something to be said about when you eat outdoors. It just adds a little something to the flavor of the food.
It does, and that's a very uniquely American thing to do. Not just because of the origins of what we just described, but what happens in the 1950s is there is this huge eruption of talking about publishing poems, stories, advertisements about barbecue grilling the way that we think about it in the 1950s. Written about in the 1950s more than any other decade in the 1950s. Moreover, in the 1950s, what you have going on is this sort of romantic view because of a few reasons. One being the Cold War. So remember, from the end of World War II in the mid-1940s to the early 1960s, for about a generation, you have the height of the Cold War. And in that era, you're trying to look, you have this sort of dichotomy, right, of capitalism and communism and sort of the Cold War ideologies. Well, what red meat represents in that situation is abundance and fortitude. Because think about it, if you have money, you're going to be able to buy red meat. We still kind of sometimes associate that to this day. Another reason for that, and that's related, is the pioneering past of the United States. So it's a great example of looking to the past, historical memory, part real, part imagined, to look to the past to kind of create a narrative. And the narrative that's created is this was the way that cowboys cook. So this is a very American way to do things. Individual, rugged, with grit. That's the kind of thing that we're thinking about, which is excellent consideration contrasting to communism. Think about it. The spread of democracy with cowboys, the spread of this barbecue type of making. Another thing to consider in this then, in the context of the Cold War, is what the role of the family plays. That's a big conversation in the 50s. Yeah. You have men who are kind of reconnecting with their hunting roots, handling the meats. And in an era when you have the rise of white-collar corporate jobs, that's a very important thing that they're grasping onto. And women going back into the home place. Remember, they came out in World War II to help an industry, now back into home preparing and cleaning up. And finally, the story of multiculturalism in the United States, which makes it unique as well, is what comes up in the discussion of contrasting to communism. They recognize the Spanish, indigenous, and Anglo orientation and the influence of Japanese and Korean as well in barbecue. So that's how you have the barbecue being very American.
In short, that's how it happened. Raffi, thanks a million as always, and giving us a little bit of background. So when you're grilling later on today, thank you, Raffi.
Practicing history.
There you go. Stay with us. We'll be right back.